Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Albion Angle. It is episode 10 now
Yeah, it is
in
episode 10.
season 1, and you're in. But buckle up, plug your seatbelts in because
Yeah,
we're in for a bit of a rocky road today. Um,
yeah, we are.
Teddy managed yesterday, despite living halfway up the country, to get to London probably quicker than me.
Only just slower. It took me. No, it was quicker. My coach down was 4 hours 55 minutes,
Yes, you were
which
quicker.
was less time you spent traveling actually because you had all the
Yeah.
disruptions from
Yeah,
Brighton,
left
which is
left
very
my
annoying.
house at 1:30. Got on the train at 2:30. We got to Hayward Heath at 3. And then obviously terrible with what's happened. Uh, and then turned around, went back to Brighton at 4 because luckily, big shout out to Tristan, uh, who parked his car at Brighton, and so me and Emmanuel we jumped in, Finn and Tristan there as well, and just drove to as close as to the ground we could get, and I think we parked up at around 20 past, quarter past 7, got in at 25, half past, then I missed kickoff anyway, going to the toilet. So,
Yeah, the queues for
yeah.
the toilet were ridiculous as well yesterday. Even at half time, they were a joke.
Yeah.
Um,
And then on the way back, they closed the junction for the M23, so you had to go via Bromley to
yeah,
bloody get back on the motor. Yeah, 11-hour round trip, and it was 11-hour round trip when I went to Truro. So
I mean, I had to get off my coach at Brum yesterday, sit in Brum coach station for an hour just to get back on the same coach that was going in the same direction anyway, which I thought was very weird. My journey back was 6.5 hours. My journey down was 5 hours. So it was an 11.5 hour
oh,
round trip for me, which means
it's
yours was only
probably
just
down
left.
to that's probably
Left
down to
Brum.
driver hours, I'm
Yeah, I
guessing.
think it was because
Yeah,
this coach stopped everywhere on the way back. Like it stopped at Dudley, Wolverhampton, Walsall, Stoke,
we we were going to
like
get on a coach at
everywhere.
one point. We were seeing if coaches left from Hayward Heath.
Yeah, it,
Uber, by the way, 50 quid. So when we were looking like at our options, could have gone to Three Bridges, 50 quid.
you're joking.
Rip off.
I had to
So
get an Uber
luckily,
from Sheffield to Barnsley for Barnsley away from Sheffield Station because there wasn't any trains because of the same thing, and it cost me £30 to get from Sheffield to Barnsley.
yeah,
And
luckily,
three of us we split that. That was a tenner each, but 50 quid to get from Haywards Heath to Three Bridges is a joke.
luckily we got on the last train, which was running on that line for like 2 hours, and it was
Mm.
going back to Brighton. So we got very lucky. But anyway, we made it, and sadly so. But we got
Yeah.
to cast our minds back to
Man United.
last Saturday.
Mm. Yeah,
Quite confusing game. If you, it's quite hard to sum up because we were. It's kind of the same thing. Like we were all right in the first 10 minutes,
yeah,
and we just like again just down tools after not scoring a goal. It feels like sometimes like in those early stages when you're playing football, like under under 10, under 11, and you're
yeah,
playing, and you go you go 2-0 down, and you kind of go like, oh, we're just here to have like a good time.
yeah,
It does feel often that like Hurzeler still puts on the group chat asking people's mums whether they can play on the weekend,
mm.
and like is yeah, the United game was just.
Just a
I
bit
mean, we did
frustrating.
turn up. We did turn up in the
Yeah,
last 15 minutes, and I'll give him that. And I think if they turned up 10 minutes earlier, we could have got a point.
yeah,
But it's just not. It just wasn't really a performance which deserved a win. I mean, you could
no.
slightly argue about the referees, but
It was sort
then
of against both
again,
sides. I think there was the ref was poor both ways. How many times are we going to say that this year? Loads, because the standard of refereeing in this league isn't good enough. I've said it too many times. I don't really want to focus on that. Obviously, I don't think our performance warranted getting anything from the game. I think the manner of the goals we gave away
I
were
do, yeah. The only
poor.
thing I would say about the goals is that I think the third goal should have been disallowed.
Yeah, it should have been 100%.
That should have been disallowed.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but
But then
you
again,
know,
if we just switched off, like obviously the foul's not been given, but then we've got three players back there who've all completely switched off and lost a man on the other side.
yeah, it
Um,
did. It just felt like it was going to
yeah,
come again.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
even if it chalked off and it went to 2-0, it did feel like within the next 5 minutes it would be back at 3-0.
Yeah, yeah. The goal was coming. We were giving away chances. I mean, Sesko had a couple of chances before that. It did just look like we were going to concede the third goal, and that is down to our own doing. I think we were poor. We were sloppy. The amount of 5-yard passes we misplaced, I think was
Oh my god! Just look when you pass the ball.
yeah. We tried to do that again last night as well. Obviously, we're gonna get to last night, but yeah, just the useless flicks and the trying to play the ball round corners and trying to look one way and pass the ball the other. It makes no sense whatsoever. And you've got to think, what are they being taught in the week on a training ground? Because
Well,
my
it's true
God,
because what are they being taught? Because like rule number one when you're learning how to play football is look up, open your body, pass the ball.
mm,
But we seem to be cramming, looking down at the floor, and just kicking it aimlessly. There's me trying to like as if someone can see me kicking under my desk, but like they go so small, and like especially against Man United, they've got some big players like Sesko, for example. If that's on like Carlos Bleber, who was like stinker and hooked, he was horrendous against
yeah,
Man United.
yeah, yeah,
But like Iari, who has been like one of the best players of the season, like he's a small player as it is, but he goes even smaller and just randomly kicks the ball somewhere. It's just like
mm.
is that's not how you play professional football.
No, no, it's not, and it's obviously difficult to watch because I think the players who have been our best players and who we've been relying on to get us out of situations this year, your Yaris, your Mintes, right? They, up until United, have been our best two players all year, in my opinion. Past two games. I mean, they only got what 40 odd minutes, 30 odd minutes at Arsenal yesterday, but I think against United and against Arsenal, those two were arguably our two worst players on the pitch. Um, and that's obviously no discredit to them because they have been our best two players all year and almost two of our only consistent players all year. But it does sort of seem like, and this is what I'm gonna get onto later on, is that if we don't have our big players, our big individual players playing and on it, we look tragic. And the amount of times they've got us out of situations this year, which would have been even worse if it wasn't for those two on the pitch. You look at them and you think, if they're not on it, the rest of them aren't. And that for me
Yeah,
is where I think we fall apart this year. I think we've won and gained points from individual quality and individual performances, and now that those individuals are not performing, it's falling apart. In my opinion, um, it's just a very frustrating game. Obviously, it's always horrible to lose to a team that you have such a good track record against, but you could sort of see it coming from the 20th minute that we were just sloppy and we didn't look up for it
yeah.
whatsoever. Um, yeah, and that was sort of the story of last night as well.
Costellas look good though.
Costa, yeah, I mean, Costelas looked immense on
Watson as
Saturday.
well.
Watson again, I
Costellas and
think.
Watson, not Seamas though. I
Yeah, Watson's
he's
been
so poor.
unbelievable.
Seamas is he's just another Evan Ferguson really. Like who's been Evan Ferguson, who really hasn't been very good for Roma apparently.
Mm,
Yeah, he's just we've just bought another Ferguson, and I feel like I don't understand some of these signings. Like we haven't signed a right back since lockdown.
mm.
Like why aren't we signing a right back? And then people go, oh, but we signed Kadioglu, and it's like he's yet to play at right back this season.
Yeah, and I think he should
Every
be
single
playing at
time,
right back. But then,
Kadioglu has played this season, he has not been at right back.
yeah, I mean, yesterday was a different formation. It was a back three, which in the first half I really liked actually. And it was like Coppola playing like a right centre back and
Yeah,
Kadioglu
he went
wing.
back to what he did at St. Pauli.
Um, but when we've played with a back four, which is what we have played every game this season, apart from last night, well, apart from 45 minutes last night, um, we we seem to play Kadioglu as either a winger or left back. He's not played right back yet, which means that we
It's
are a right
stupid.
back down
Our
because he's
first
just
choice
being
right back. Our first choice right back is a defensive midfielder.
our first choice
Like,
right back is our best defensive midfielder, and he's playing out
so
of position, which makes him look
it's
worse,
stupid.
which makes us look worse.
It's just common sense. Some of these things are just common sense.
Yeah,
It's
they are.
like if you've signed a defensive midfielder, you play him in defensive midfield.
If you've signed a fullback,
If
don't
you sign
play
a
him on the
right back, you
wing.
play him at right back, and it's all right if he's versatile and he can play at left back. But we've got
We've got
like
a left back.
we've got the Kuiper ready to play at left back.
And it's not as if we don't have a winger, by the way. I've been banging on about this for ages. It's like we have no Matoma. We have to play Kadioglu on the wing. No, we don't. We've got Watson on the bench, who arguably is as capable.
Played really well in his few
Yeah,
cameos he's had.
I mean, and
Got
even then,
great
Kostulas.
finish on him as well.
Yeah, Kostulas can
Tom
play on the
Watson.
wing. He's
Yeah,
played
but
on the wing. I think he played sort of wide-ish yesterday.
I think he's better in the 10 though.
Yeah, I mean, he is. He's better playing off a striker, but even then, we do have players who can play wide rather than a right back. I mean, it is a little bit frustrating. I know the whole fan base is obviously split on everything, and you're never going to universally have a fan base agree on one thing ever. Like, it has never happened and it never will. So it's very understandable that the fan base is split, but a lot of people are now seeing this side of it. Which was inevitable, I guess. It was always
Yeah.
going to happen. But speaking about frustrating,
Yeah, right. Here
let's get on to
we've
last night,
talked
Archie.
12 minute. Yeah. So we've kind of done the overview of both games quite briefly.
Yeah,
Because they were kind of the same.
yeah, it's
Like
the same story, really.
play 20 minutes down tools, just terrible. And now this is going to be the big discussion, which has been ongoing with a lot of the and it has literally just been like a proper divide
Yeah, yeah,
between the fan base, and it's Fabian Hurzeler. I'll ask you, Ted, first because I know you've got quite a strong opinion in it. I feel like I've got a strong but rounded opinion
yeah,
that I can see both sides, but I'll let you as
yeah,
an
yeah.
extremist
I wouldn't
kick
say
off
that.
this
I mean, I
conversation.
do see and I do understand that there is two sides to the argument, and that this is why I am frustrated that the fan base is so torn on it. But I very firmly stand on the side that I think that Hertzler should be sacked. Um, I know a lot of people who are even further on the side and have been having the doubt since even before I have. I just think that the football looks uninspiring. It looks very uninspired. It looks like the players don't want to play for him, which is difficult. And there was always going to be discussions whether his age was going to have anything to play with it. And you could argue in a sense that it hasn't, but you could also argue that it has. I think he struggles to get the players up for games. I mean, last season, Crystal Palace twice lost. We were knocked out of both cup competitions. Um, Brentford away, we lost 4-2. It just looks like he struggles to sort of get into the players and he struggles to get them to agree with his sort of philosophy. I mean, if there even is a philosophy, I know even at the start of last season there was people saying, "Yeah, we've won two and drawn one," but there's no system. I don't actually see a style of play. And I was like, "Oh, it's all right. We're winning games. It's fine." But now I look back on that and it's like, was there even a style of play? I'm not sure. It is very frustrating. I do want to hear what you have to say on it, Archie. But there's only so many times you can blame the players, in my opinion. And if it's constantly the players, the players, the players, then you've got to look at the manager because who's the one that's working with them every
Yeah,
single day? It's him.
I
So
put that up on Facebook with all sides. Yeah,
yeah,
right. My before yesterday, I was in the bracket of I'm not in, I'm not out. But if I got the notification like on Tuesday morning, like before the game, that he'd been sacked and Cross is going to take charge, I kind of just look at it, shrug my shoulders, and be like,
Mm.
it's happened. But after yesterday, just so many things which I've said. What, we've played nine league games this season,
Yeah, something like that.
haven't won two of them in a row.
No.
None of them have been two in a row. Like this season, just every single game, it is the same question. Why can't we get two good results in a row? Why aren't we getting the best out of this amazing young squad of players which people rave on about? Why aren't we like there's just so many questions, like why can't we hold on to Leeds? Like some of these questions have been going since around this time last year when we
Yeah,
played
yeah, it
Wolves,
is. It
when
was
we played in
in
that
October.
game against Wolves,
Yeah,
and it happened time and time again last season. Last season, I think he got away with it because I think he showed enough times that he had good performances. But
yeah,
the further it got on in the season was the more drastic measure it took to kick him into gear and go, like, do you know what? I'm really not doing very well here. Like, it shouldn't take the third biggest loss in club history to go, actually, I'm doing pretty crap at the moment. I need to
yeah,
step up my game. And fair enough, he then went on an unbeaten run of seven, but then he then went on a terrible run. And the only thing which turned him round from that terrible run was a 4-2 loss with people singing "You don't know what you're doing,"
yeah.
with the owner like front and center. It shouldn't take that to
No, no,
turn around your job. There's just
no.
so many things which he needs to sort out, and I just don't see him doing it. It's like the finishing thing. People are like, well, he can't come on the pitch and do it for them. And it's like, no, he can't come on the pitch and do it for them on the day. But like the Arsenal game, you had Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to, show them a way of how to finish. And if
It's
it's
not even the not finishing; it's the not
no,
shooting
but
at
if
all.
it's like no, but if it's like we had three really good chances, but we didn't score. We had three really good chances against Man United. We had three really good chances against Wolves. We had three really good chances against Bournemouth, but none of them have gone in the net.
Mm.
And when it's happening so often, it can't be down to strikers. Maybe if it happens once or twice and there's a gap of 4 games, then yeah, maybe that's down to the strikers on the day. But this is like consistently happening.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
only thing, which is consistent about this team is the bad things, and
yeah.
it's annoying to say because you know this squad is very capable of becoming one of the best in the league. Well, not one of the
100%.
best in the league, but out of
One
like
of the
the
best
other
outside the sort
14.
of top
Yeah,
four, top five. I
yeah.
definitely agree with you. And I know a lot of people are going to say that Brighton fans are being entitled by saying this, but I don't think it's entitled. I see the argument that we've come a long way and this is a lot better than anyone could ever have expected, and that is true.
Oh, hold on.
100%.
Yeah, that was another thing I was going to say. So the other side to the argument is that we've come a long way, but put yourself in the head, like the mind of Paul Barber.
Mm,
Paul Barber, he might have watched Stand or Fall, but I think growing up he was a Tottenham fan. Paul
mm.
Barber. I don't think he had any relevance to Brighton before he joined us in 2012 odd. Put yourself in the head of Paul Barber, who's watching the season go on and these bad results are coming through and these poor performances are coming through and the pressure is mounting from a lot of other people. Is Paul Barber sat in his office going, it's okay because we look at our old ground, look at this,
Mm.
or is he sat there going, actually this really isn't good enough? Like
Probably the second one.
he's not sat there thinking about League One. He's sat
No.
there, he's forward thinking. Like people people don't know this, but one of the reasons our badge changed when we moved to the Amex was they changed the seagull around so that it was forward facing. They're always forward thinking. They're not looking back over our shoulders going, "Oh,
Yeah,
well, we used to be like crap years ago, so it's fine." We are a forward thinking football club,
yeah.
and we can't sacrifice result because the worst comes to worst, we're 17th after Palace. If we really don't turn up against Leeds, and
Mm.
really don't turn up against Palace, worst comes to worst, we are 17th in the table. And that's coming into a really crucial Christmas run
A very
where
difficult Christmas run as well, may I add.
difficult Christmas run. And it's like you can't be 17th and still thinking that we're doing the right thing because I think currently at the moment we're not. We're
No, I
not doing the
completely
right
agree
thing.
with you. And as I said, I do see the argument that we've come a long way and this is better than anyone who supported us in my dad's age and even before him could have imagined. But having said which, we have spent on the 2 summers and 1 January with Fabian Hurzeler as manager, we have spent over £300 million, over £300 million on players for the squad that he has. We've spent over £300 million. Why have we gone backwards in that time? With that amount of investment, the money we've spent, we've gone backwards. Now I hate to jump on the whole De Zerbi train. He was a great manager, but he's never going to come back. De Zerbi,
Yeah.
yeah, De Zerbi left the club because he wanted more control and more money spent on transfers. De Zerbi goes, we spend that money, and we have got worse and much worse, may I add. That enough on its own is an argument for me to say that he's not the right man for the job. I think
I'm
the squad is capable of a top 6, top 7 finish, in my opinion, and I think it's Hurtzler holding us back, not the squad. I think the
yeah, my
substitutions and the
best
decisions he makes is what holds the team back, rather than the players themselves. That's my personal opinion, and that's where I've been since April, and that's
yeah,
why I've
what
got such a strong opinion on it.
what I'd say on the De Zerbi point is that he clearly got the best out of the players.
Yeah,
And I'm going to take the two cup games against Arsenal and I'm going to use those as a comparison. And so look at Seamas yesterday. Clearly a capable player,
yeah,
as we've heard and as we've seen from friendlies and stuff like that. But he was not very good yesterday.
no,
And I think all his cameos have been 6 out of 10 average. And Hurtzler's clearly not getting the best out of him.
no,
And then go back to the cup game 3 years ago and look at Jeremy Sarmiento, who was, an okay young player, didn't really have a lot of Premier League, probably had the same amount of Premier League experience as Seamas.
yeah,
And he was he was so good on that day
yeah,
against Arsenal, as was the whole team. But Sarmiento, he was so good.
yeah,
And bear in mind, we're looking at him going, you've just come up through the youth team. You're a fairly bang average player. Could probably do with a loan. That game was one of his best games for the club, and it's like clearly Hurtzler's not getting the best out of these players. Arsenal were there for the taking yesterday. 100% they were there for
100%
the
they were
taking.
there for the taking.
Everyone's like, oh, they're the best, but they're the best team in the world at the moment. And it's like their first team are. Their second team, they're definitely on parallel with some of the players which we had in our team. They were playing someone who was 15 years old,
Yeah,
and he absolutely bossed it against
they
us.
were playing someone
They
who
were
was
so
15 years old, who was the best player on the pitch by a country mile.
they were
That
they
is
were
what we need to
so
look
there
at.
for the taking
Mm,
yesterday.
yeah,
It's
100% they were
just
there for the taking.
we're not getting the best out of this group of players.
No,
And if we're looking at games where it's repetitively the players, as you said, you have to look at who's in charge of them, and it is Hurtzler who's in charge of them, and it's just he doesn't answer these questions. His answer is if we score the chances we win the game, and it's like, but you could say that for any game. You could
mm,
say that for anything. It's like
If my
It's like
grandma had
some
wheels, she'd
players.
be a bike.
If I
It's the
didn't,
same sort
if
of.
I didn't, if I didn't pick up the pen, I wouldn't have signed the contract. It's like such a basic level answer, and it's just, I, I just don't think he's good enough. I
Yeah,
don't think he's good enough.
no, that is the opinion I share as well. And it's not only that as well. Obviously, if we'd have been told before this season, look, we're looking at finishing higher end of mid table, potentially pushing top eight, potentially, right? Then we'd look at being 13th or 14th or wherever we are now and go, you know what, we're sort of there or thereabouts. But
That's it.
we had,
They've made up this paradise that, they said that with the way we're going in pre-season, which it looked like it, the way it's going in pre-season, we're going to be top five. Now that was a bit of a stretch, but Tony Bloom definitely brought it back down to earth, and he was like, you know, we are a top 10 club, and we push for Europe. That's it. It's not some fans have been saying like as long as we're in the Premier League, it's fine. It's like no, the board are publicly saying it's top 10 and we push for Europe. But if we
yeah,
don't get Europe, that's not the end of the world as long as
yeah,
we're in the top 10.
yeah,
And probably part of the reason De Zerbi left was that it highly looked like he was going to finish 11th, 12th, not 10th or above. And two more games, and we're at a stage of the season where the league really starts to shape out. And as the league starts to shape out, we could be 17th.
and it's not we could be. There is a very high possibility that we are 17th after Crystal Palace in
We're
November.
playing. If Leeds beat us, they jump us. All the teams, like, I think Everton Fulham's happening on the same weekend as we play Palace. It's like, if worse comes to worse, we could be 17th. I don't think we can mathematically be 18th, but I think we can be joint on points
Yeah,
or near enough 18th.
yeah, I think there'd be
And
a
it's like,
point in it.
if you're at that stage, bear in mind we were pushing second this time last year, so Hurzeler clearly did have it in him at the start, but maybe that was just a new manager bounce.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. I mean,
Because
it's just the
after that,
way we have. Yeah.
after that he was crap again.
Mm.
He went on his first crap run. It's like the same question has been asked. Why can't we hold on to Leeds? Why can't we, string two good results in a row? Why can't we be consistent? Why aren't we getting the same out of the squad? And it's down like why aren't we going for what could be a massive, massive trophy for this club? And it all goes down to the manager. It all relates back to the manager.
But
And
it's
so
it's
far
not the
his
fact that
answer
we're not doing it. It's the fact he's telling us we're going to do it and then we're not doing it. He was the key driver this year of the top five thing. He was also the key driver of we're going to target cup competitions and win a cup this year. And then he drops that performance last night in a
terrible.
very
It's
winnable cup
terrible.
game to get us knocked out of probably, I'd say that was arguably our second best ever chance at winning a trophy, and he gets us knocked out. Do you see what I mean?
So
It's like he's talking. He talks an incredible game because he says we're going to finish top five and we're going to go for a trophy, and he gets us
yeah,
knocked out of a game like that, and we're currently
talk
14th. We could be 17th in 2 weeks.
yeah, you talk the talk, but you don't walk the walk.
Yeah, that is why he frustrates me to another level because he speaks as if we are Real Madrid and that he's Pep Guardiola, or he speaks as if we are that Man City team and he's Pep Guardiola. He speaks as if we are the bollocks and we are, quite frankly, shit at the minute.
But we could be. We could be there.
We could be, but not with him in charge.
Yeah.
Sadly.
So I've got a few questions written down. My first question is probably the most likely outcome, but I think this is probably around the area where we get rid of him. But I think, annoyingly, the most likely outcome is that we keep him. And let's say we pick up 1 point from the next two games, but Bloom's decided to keep him. What do you think Hurzeler's got to do through the November international break to send a rocket up these players' arse and be like, we've got to turn it around. What do you think Hurts has to do?
In terms of motivating the players, I think he really has to drill into the players and tell them that we are a top eight. We are, in terms of squad and on paper, we are a top eight side this season, I think, and that they are not performing like they are a top eight side. In terms of the results, I think we need to win the fans over. We need to go on a run of 3 games where we pick up 7 points or 5 points, uh, but we look good and we have
Look good, yeah.
we consistently perform for 3 games at least in a row, in my opinion. Which I don't actually see happening at this rate. We can't keep a clean sheet for anything. The 2 clean sheets we kept this season are our lower league opposition. It's really, really worrying. Um,
Yeah.
we let a Wolves team that are struggling to score against us and look like they were going to score more. Um, it really worries me that we can't defend. And then he goes out in an interview pre-Arsenal and says defensively we're very good, when every single fan who watches it week in, week out knows that we're not good at all defensively. So I just don't understand where he's coming from with anything that he says, really. So it all looks a bit unlikely in terms of what he needs to do.
Yeah, I think my answer to that question would probably be like just go back to basics. I
That's
think
why
it would just
Brentford are
be
doing
like
so well. They're not the most entertaining to watch, but they do the
I think yeah.
basics so well.
Yeah,
We
but the
don't.
problem is, yeah, I say go back to basics, but Hertzler's come out and says that he doesn't like the long throw-in trend. And it's like, well, yeah, but that doesn't mean you just don't go back to basics altogether. I
Mm,
think up against Brentford, like let's say realistically he should be doing it now, but let's say it takes him until Brentford and he's had an international break. Against Brentford, he should basically just be doing what they're doing. Because I think Brentford have so much freedom to, do what they want because they've Keith Andrews has kind of brought this basic football back to the Premier League.
yeah,
That's the reason why they're beating so many teams. And I think there's no harm in Hurtsler just turning around and going, well, we'll just go back to basics for the next few games because the 2 teams which we play, well, 3 in the next 4, Brentford and Forest, are teams which will just be incredibly basic.
yeah.
I think
Um,
there's no harm. I think there's no harm in just playing basic football.
no, there isn't any harm in playing basic football, but knowing Hertzler and knowing the type of manager he is, he won't go back to basics. We saw it with Russell Martin at Southampton as well. Even when his head was on the chopping board, he was very, very arrogant in terms of the fact that he was going to play his style, his way, and not change a thing. Even if it
Do
meant him
you
getting
think?
sacked, he was looking for the job after us. He was looking for the job after Southampton. Hertzler, in my opinion, is saying that he's gonna stick with this identity and just look for whatever happens after us.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you think that Hertzler's pulling a Vincent Company, which was like, we will just play crap all season as long as the football looks good, it's fine.
Yeah, I do think that's what this season's going to be until he goes. He's just looking
I
to cement a style of play so that he gets
yeah,
the job after.
I
In my
don't
opinion,
think it's that. I think that he's he's using us as like his school of
mm,
learning what it's like at the top level, and because he's using us to learn, it's costing us could cost us pretty big, and it feels like it's on the edge of costing us quite massively.
yeah,
But he is sort of using us as a footballing education, where it's like we don't need that. We need someone who's learned and is ready to come in and do the job, which is
yeah,
where I pose another question to you. One question which I've got an answer to. If, let's say, right now they just say, Hurzeler's gone. You know, we're going to have Crofts in charge on the weekend. It gets to Monday morning after the Leeds game. Who do we want in the dugout at Palace, or if he's sacked after Palace, who do we want in the dugout against Brentford?
It is obviously a very big question. It's a question that people have been thinking about a lot, as I know you have as well. Ultimately, I think my dream two targets are Knutson and Farioli. But personally, I don't think we'll get either. I don't think Farioli will leave Porto, and I don't see
Nutson's never
Nutson's
leaving
never going to
Bodo Glimt.
leave Bodo
He
Glimt. He's in his
gets
hometown
he
playing Champions League football, battering
Yeah, and
teams every
he
week.
gets 20% of every transfer
Mm.
fee.
Yeah, he won't ever leave Bodo. In terms of how we've employed before, it will be someone that isn't on anyone's radar. It'll be someone the club's looked at for a while as well. Um, so you can never really call who we'd bring in. In terms of who I want to bring in, I don't think any of them would come in. But I do have faith that we'd choose the right person. I mean, Bloom's done it time and time again. Obviously, this appointment's not gone as he would have planned, but all the other ones have. So
Yeah, other than Hippier.
yeah,
This is our Premier League Hippier, I think.
yeah, 100%. This is the sort of, but you're going to get it wrong every now and then, and
10 years on from Hippier as well. So do you know what?
yeah,
If we as we are, but every 10 years we have a slight blip with a manager and it's just a slight freak decision, then that's fine by me. But I pose my two names on the list. Because Farioli is also on my list, but he recently got a job at Porto,
yeah,
and Pocognoli would have been on my list, but he has very recently, got the job at Monaco.
yeah,
The first on my list, and one which I don't think we get, is more of a want, is Liam Rosenior. I think
yeah,
he's been superb at Strasbourg. He plays quite good football. Um, He's worked with some of our players, you know, Barco and Ciso, so he'd understand how they work as well as understanding how the club works from his, you know, time in the Championship and slight period in the Premier League.
yeah,
Um, he knows how the club works. Still a few players at the club which would have been there when he was there. Dunk and March.
yeah, yeah,
I think it's a good appointment, but he is under Blueco control, which means he is definitely being told that your next job will be Chelsea, whether you like it or not, or if you get sacked, that's the only way it's going to change.
yeah,
However, I do present another manager, which is a Bloom type appointment,
yeah,
has had links to Celtic, but it's in a league which Bloom has links to a team in. It's not from his team. It is Club Bruges manager Nicky Hayen is the name I would suggest. I watched a YouTube video on him at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I think he's called like the People's Pub or something along those lines. If you search up Nicky Hayen, it's like the first YouTube video which comes up, and the first few words I heard, I think the one which sticks in my head is adaptability. And it's like that's a big thing we've got to sort out at the moment. Like where we go 20 minutes into a game and we down tools,
mm,
Nicky Hayen is an adaptable manager and he'll go 20 games in, see it's not working, and he'll adapt the system, which he's done at Bruges. I think what we were saying about Hurtzler using us as a school, Hayen has slightly used Bruges as his school, and he was there doing their Champions League run last year where they beat Aston Villa, so they know how to beat big Premier League teams. Well, he knows how to beat big Premier League teams. He would have worked with Maxim de Kuiper, which is quite a big one because I think de Kuiper is a really good player. You know, he can get a lot out of him. Um, I just think he's the right man for the job. He plays a similar-ish system. He plays the same formation as we've done since Roberto De Zerbi, and obviously which Hurtzler's inherited the 4-2-3-1. But again, he can adapt, and play that sort of foot. It just seems like I was watching this
Yeah,
YouTube video yesterday, and everything which this guy mentioned high end does is what we need to improve. But he's also currently doing the stuff at Bruges which we're doing well.
yeah,
So I think if we were to get another manager, we it's so worth trying to pay out Nicky Hyen's contract at Club Bruges and bringing him in, because I think he would definitely get us into that top eight region again, and I think he can definitely kick on. I think also if we were to get a new manager, the fans have got to back him right away. The one slight defence I'll give to Hurzeler is that he hasn't really been massively backed from day one. Like De Zerbi
mm,
came in and he had a massive flag for him unveiled, and Hurzeler hasn't even got a chant. Like, so I'll give him slight defence there that he's never been
yeah,
massively supported, but at the same time, the team has been supported, and he should be supporting the team as well. And if the team aren't doing well, then clearly the manager isn't doing well either.
yeah. And I
But
mean,
yeah,
this also backs onto my point in terms of seeing both sides. I do think that Hertzler has inherited a difficult job. It was always going to be a difficult job, uh, being De Zerbi's successor. You have one manager there who is charismatic, who would run through brick walls for the team, who would celebrate with fans, who would say just what he thinks, who wouldn't gloss over anything. He'd say everything how it is. You know, he was a very no nonsense, charismatic man. And then you go from that to having someone the complete opposite, who's very laid back and is very very different to De Zerbi. It was always going to be difficult inheriting that if you were not the same type of character as De Zerbi. Um, so in terms of why he's not been as supported as De Zerbi was, I think it's just because he's not shown the same level of passion and charisma back to the fan base as De Zerbi did. But as I said, it was always going to be a difficult job. And something else
yeah.
that's now a difficult job is Saturday, because he's now made this game a lot
Oh,
bigger
hold on.
for
I'll
himself.
quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, go
I'll
on.
quickly. It was the pitchside pub who did the video, and he said that it was adaptability. He had a strong work ethic, and he's very good at redeeming himself.
There we are.
Which is something which De Zerbi was very good at, redeeming himself
Yeah,
after poor results. But yeah, my man is Nicky Hyen. If we were to get a new manager, but yeah, as you said about Leeds, it's now just become a way bigger game than it needed to be because of how terrible we were against Man United and Arsenal.
mm, yeah. And as we
And I
said
think
multiple times throughout the pod, if we do lose to Leeds, which is quite likely, and
it's going to
lose at
go
Crystal Palace,
nuclear.
which is very likely, we could potentially, if results go the way which they are probably going to go, we could end this sort of spell before the international break in 17th, which is for a club that's supposed to be top 10 challenging top 6, that is not good enough. So this game now Leeds is our last real chance, like our best chance to pick up a
Big
win
importance,
before
yeah.
the international break. But can you really predict anything with us at the minute with how we've been? I'm not even sure you can. So you can't even go there saying
Yeah,
expecting to win. It's now a do or die fixture, which it never really needed to be. I wanted
yeah.
your
Well,
thoughts on this.
Fabian is in luck that he's coming up against a manager and a team which have kind of been we've been their bogey side when they play away. Leeds. I think they're yet to score in the Premier League.
Yeah,
Playing at the Amex. Same with Daniel Farker as a manager. His two games for Norwich were. It might have only been one, but I remember the first year Norwich are back in the Premier League. We beat them 2-0 at home. I'm not sure if he was in charge for the 1-0 away win where Trossard scored
yeah, I think he was still in
in
charge too.
COVID, but yeah, he might have been in charge. So he is lucky that he's coming up against two two people which have never had the best track record against Brighton. But again, we're looking at someone who's not got a good track record themselves,
Yeah,
um, and he's created an issue for himself here, where it's like if he doesn't turn up here, it's just going to be more and more people turning on him,
Mm.
and you never know, that one person who could turn on him could be like Jason Ato, whether he has any relevance in big decisions, which I think he does.
Mm.
It could be Paul Barber, it could be Tony Bloom, it could be anyone. And
It could be
as we
all of them.
know, as we know about Tony Bloom, he definitely takes sides of arguments and evaluates them, and you know he's Fabian has to turn up against Leeds, because if he doesn't, it's going to be one critical person at the club who goes, actually, there's something not right here, and Bloom will take that side of the argument, and if there's 3 or 4 people agreeing, then that's Hurzeler's job gone.
Mm.
But in terms of the performance on the pitch, I think if we can try and claim a bit of home advantage, because the shining light out of these poor performances was a home game against Newcastle. I'll give Fabian his credit there. I think he got elements of that right. It was our only performance this season where we were good for the whole 90 minutes. Um, so he's got a slight advantage there, but it's just become a unneeded such big game. But
Yeah,
if this is the one unneeded big game of the season, then clearly Hurzeler has learned his lesson. But it's like a poor result here, and it doubles the importance, because Palace is always important, right? Like it's the I'm going to say the derby in this terms for ease, but it's not a derby, as we know.
no, but in terms of how the
Um,
fans and the club see it, it is like
yeah,
it's a
it's
massive
the
game.
derby,
It's our
and
biggest game of the season every year.
yeah, but it this game is now so big because it doubles the importance of so many other games. Because if he gets it right here, then that's his one big game, which isn't usually a big game. If he gets it wrong here, he doubles the importance of next week. And as we know, he's not very good with handling pressure. If he can't handle double pressure, and if he then gets that wrong and he loses the job, he then might make the Brentford game like another unneeded big game, because it's someone's first game in the job. So this Leeds game is now really critical, and hopefully some of the experienced heads in the squad, like Lewis Dunk, Danny Welbeck, James Milner, whether he's going to be able to come back into the squad. They've got to be around the training ground today and tomorrow, and they're on like Saturday morning and like in the afternoon before the game, just calming the players down, because I think this is arguably going to be our biggest game of the season, and it didn't have to be our biggest game of the
Yeah,
season, but I
no,
think I
not
think it
at all.
is.
But
I think
I
this is
agree
now
as
our
well.
biggest game of the season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I completely agree with that. I think as we both said, how unnecessary it has been making this game so big. But I would say, in terms of the importance, not only on how the league looks after Saturday, but how the rest of the season's going to shape up for whoever is in the job. Saturday's huge. Um, do I think we'll get a result or not? Genuinely couldn't tell you. I think it's the first time this season where my mind is, I don't know. I couldn't
yeah.
tell you. Whether he handles the pressure, which he hasn't before, I don't know. Not this year anyway.
I
On paper, you'd
really,
say we'd beat them, but Leeds will make it very difficult for us, and their style of play is clashing to ours, and they will make it harder for us, and they will make us work for it if we do end up getting it. So yeah, I have no idea, but it is our biggest game of the season as well, in my opinion.
if I was to give a score, it would have to be 1-0 either way, or a 1-1. I think it's going to be so tight, and it's going to be, again, one moment in the game which changes it. And again, if it is a one moment in the game sort of thing, that's another repetitive issue. And we will lose on Saturday, not because of a new issue. We will lose on Saturday because of issues which have already existed. And because it would have been from an issue which has already existed, it, it'll then lay back on the manager, and we're left with the same problems which we had like last night and throughout today.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. I
it's
do
hard to
completely
call.
agree with you. If we
It's
do
hard to call,
lose
but it's a
this
must
game,
win. It's a must win
it's
now.
a must win. But if we do lose this game, I completely agree with you on the fact that it will be because of something that we've seen last night on Saturday against Wolves, against Fulham, against Everton. It will be the same thing that has happened in one of those games, if not more than one, and that will be the reason we drop points
Yeah,
in a lot of people's opinions. And if that is
yeah,
the case,
massive
then that shows that he hasn't learned from anything that we've done this year, and that there you go.
massive game. He's got to get up for it. The fans have got to get up for it.
Mm,
The team have got to get up for it. The manager especially has got to get up for it. And yeah, biggest game of the season.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I'm coming back for it. You know, that shows how big of a game it is, because normally the average home game, you'd think someone coming from Manchester would probably not want to spend 50 quid, the best part 50 quid, just to get down there. But I will be there. That does show you how much I think this game is huge. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, it's massive. It's frustrating that it is this massive, but it is massive. It's a must win. Um, I'm not sure if there's much else to say on the matter. I'll let you
no,
add anything. A few closing thoughts on
yeah.
today's episode, Archie.
I'll give a bit of sad women's team news that Michelle Agiman, I think that's how you
Yeah,
say her name,
yeah, yeah,
suffered an ACL injury with England, so she'll be out for the season. Whether that means we get her back on loan for 26-27 is another question. But obviously very disappointing, because she's a very good player, and she was quite key for that England squad in
mm,
winning the Euros.
yeah,
So quite quite sad news there. Women's team playing Man United on the weekend. Can't make the game, unfortunately, but it's at Sunday 12 o'clock at Crawley. So anyone who can get there, go there. It'll be a chance to see a good Brighton team play football. They've been quite good this season, the women's team. Um, Under 21s lost at Luton 3-1. Quite ironic. The last time a Brighton team played Luton, well, technically this is wrong. The last time a Brighton team played the Luton men's team was the men's team, who lost 4-0.
yeah,
But the under 21s lost 3-1. I was going to say the last team to play Luton as a club was the under 21s against Luton under 21s. But the last team to go to Kenilworth Road and play Luton men's for Brighton was the men's team in a Premier League game. And now the under 21s are playing League One Luton. Um, can't think of any top facts. I've been really slacking with the
yeah. I mean, to be
Oh,
fair, you said,
I'll
oh,
tell you
God.
what. I can give you a bit of a good fact. Um, on this day, 11 years ago, I
Oh,
think it was 11 years ago. We lost away to Tottenham 2-0 in the League Cup. So
yeah,
North London, North London League Cup, League Cup games on this week. It all wraps round into the picture, and that's with Sammy Hippier as well. So maybe it's a theme.
maybe it's a sign.
Maybe it is a sign of things to come.
Yeah, well,
But
he didn't get
anyway,
sacked until late December, did he? So,
yeah. Well, no, I think though in the Premier League, this is the best opportunity you get to sack a manager.
yeah, when you've got an international break.
You you've seen games where they have been good, they've been bad. This is the first. I think this is the first point of the season where you get a proper analysis of how you've done this season. And so I think if there is any big decision to be made, it's going to be made in this international break. And if it's not made, then we're just going to have to get on with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
right.
do
So
agree with you.
there's a slight top fact.
And obviously a lot of the sort of, well, decision on whether the decision at all will be made will come down to this Saturday. So, uh, if anyone is going, obviously I'm going, Archie's going. then make sure you do get behind the boys, because it is going to need to be a special Amex atmosphere to get anything from the game. Obviously back Hurtzler until otherwise. I would
Yeah, in
say in
fact,
terms of
don't
backing
don't
support
even
him.
don't even back individuals. Just back the team.
Yeah.
Just back the team. Like regardless of, I've said this a lot. Regardless of my opinion on the managers, back the team.
Mm.
If you back them as a collective, they'll do well as a collective. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
we'll just maybe, I know this now like goes massively against what I've just said, but maybe just kind of ignore Hertzler.
Mm.
Not ignore him, but just like ignore your thoughts on Hertzler and just get behind the team, because
Yeah.
they need the support at the moment. And
Yeah,
so,
my
yeah,
sort of view on it is ignore your thoughts on Hurtzler during the game. Whatever happens after the game and once you're out of the stadium, then
yeah.
fine.
But
But
put
in
put a
terms
put
of
a pause
don't
put a
show any
pause button on
dissupport
it.
to him in the ground. But if you don't like what's
Yeah.
happened, then by all means out the ground, say
Put a
whatever you want.
put a pause button on it at 10 to 3, and then come 5 o'clock, you can resume.
Yeah,
There we
that's
go.
my view on it.
There we go. Right.
Yeah. But thank you to everyone who's got this far once again. We will be back next week with the post Leeds pre Palace post Leeds pre
Yeah.
Palace sort of episode, which will be a very big episode in determining where we are going
I know.
into the
Yeah.
international break. So
Tune in.
tune into that one, because it could get spicy. Anyway, we will see you all next week. Thank you very much, and to anyone who is there Saturday, enjoy the game. We'll try to enjoy the
Yeah.
game. So yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.